Who's going first? We got one brave guy. All right, excellent.
The birthday boy.
The birthday? Birthday? Happy birthday. Tomorrow, okay. Happy early birthday. Here's a neat spot. Check this out. Look at these cliffs. Look how steep this mountainside is here. Look at all the vegetation growing on the rock. How deep? Straight off the cliff, there is over 30 meters straight down. At this moment here, we're talking about 45, 50 meters down beneath us. So if you wanted to, you really could climb up there and jump. You can climb about 40 meters up and then jump into the lake. Captain Jeremy just spinning the boat around so everybody on every side gets kind of an interesting view of the cliffs.
I think the birthday boy will go first.
You can see the layers of sedimentary rock in those cliffs. Very old, crumbly sedimentary rock. Take a look almost straight off the side of the boat now at water's edge. It looks like a series of bending, buckling folds. Almost looks like the letter V followed by the letter A. The V-shaped, A-shaped fold called a chevron fold by geologists. And that gives you an idea about the mountain building processes that took place in this area. This is essentially a snapshot of how these mountains came to form. Huge amounts of pressure getting all the layers to bend and buckle and twist and fold like that. Sometimes on a normal year, people will come to Waterton, and sometimes people will charter out the entire boat. They'll rent the whole boat and come get married. They get married on the boat, and often we'll bring them, if it's a nice day, this is a little rough, a little windy, but on a nice calm day, we would bring the boat here, turn the boat off the float right next to the cliff there, and they would get married right there on the boat in front of the cliffs. Kind of a neat thing, but obviously, not a lot of weddings happening this year. Or at least not a lot of big weddings. A buddy of mine got married last week. There were 20 people in attendance, I think. Both the immediate families, and that was it. All the friends, they told us not to come. That's right. You guys get ready for Frederick's Cave. Be watching for Frederick's Cave. It's coming up. There it is. You see it.
Huh? No.
He's not in there right now? So we're just passing through the midway point on the lake right now. This is the middle of the lake here, the narrow section. And somewhere down beneath us at this moment is the deep spot. 148 meters. So don't drop your car keys overboard. Kind of an interesting perspective, no matter which way you look off the boat. If you look back behind us off the right, you can see back to the Waterton town site and the Prince of Wales Hotel. And then ahead of us, off the left, looking to the south end of the lake to Goat Haunt Ranger Station. Looking into the heart of Glacier National Park. The wind today is rather unusual. Normally the wind blows from the other direction. And so normally it's windiest and the lake is most choppy, roughest waters back at the Waterton town site. The wind normally blows from the other end of the lake ahead of us, north towards town. But today, blowing from the north towards the south. I'll point out the tallest mountain in all of Waterton Glacier ahead of us off the left. You see a mountain that's got a triangle-shaped peak and a little bit of snow running flat across the upper portion. Just a little stripe of snow near the top. That is Mount Cleveland. Mount Cleveland. Tallest mountain in the area. 3,200 meters, 3,200 meters above sea level. And considering here at lake level, we are 1,280 meters above sea level. That's a whole lot of vertical relief. It's a pretty impressive looking mountain. I think Captain Jeremy has stood on the top of that mountain twice now. Twice he's been up there. I went up once, and that was enough. Just one time I was up there, and when I got to the summit, we were almost at the very top of the mountain. We were walking the last little stretch up to the top, and there was a huge grizzly bear up there. Big, big grizzly bear. Big hump between his shoulders, really long claws. What do you think he was doing up there? Besides waiting for me to eat us. He was looking for food of some kind, that's right. There's something up there, there's insects. Late in the summer, late August into early September, we have a type of moth that comes from North and South Dakota. Flies all across the plains, all across the prairies, and ends up in the Rocky Mountains. They get to this area, and then to escape the hot daytime hours, these moths go up to the tops of all the mountain peaks and crawl underneath all the loose rocks and boulders. And then at night they come out and they help to pollinate all the little wildflowers up near the tops of the mountains. But in the daytime they're sleeping, and the grizzlies have figured this out. So the grizzly bears climb up to the tops of all the mountains, they flip over the rocks and lick up the moths by the thousands. 1/4 calorie per moth. And they can consume over 20,000 calories in a day. No human being could possibly do that. But the bears, they try every day to take in that many calories. So we're slowing down now because we are about to cross the border. So if you don't already have your cameras ready, get your smartphones out, get your cameras ready. Because first look off the left. You guys have already seen it. Good eye. Look across the lake off the left side. You see that straight line running through the forest. That's the border between Canada and the United States of America. They made a line just for the borders to show us. And it's kind of neat right now because you've got the tour boat right at the bottom of the line. Makes a real good photo.
That's the border. Okay.
So that is the Canada-USA border. It's going to appear in just another few seconds on our right-hand side too. Not quite yet, but very shortly you'll see a couple of markers, survey markers called obelisk.
The markers are on the bridge.
There's a couple other ones on the bridge. So here we go. There's that border line. 2 markers, line them up one in front of the other. That's the surveyor's perspective. 49 degrees north latitude. And if you look into the lake, you might still see that yellow line painted on the bottom of the lake. No. That's right. Welcome to the United States. Yes. Well, those of us at the front of the boat are in the U.S. You guys at the back might still be in Canada for another minute. Here we go. Now we're all in the United States of America. Easiest border crossing we've made. Nothing to it. Go home and tell all your friends this afterwards.
I'm here in the US.
Tell everybody that you crossed into the USA during the pandemic. And then you'll have to explain to them.
Yeah, yan ang guhit ng ano, border. Yeah.
Today we're traveling into the USA by boat between Waterton and Glacier in the world's first international peace park. That's why we're able to cross the border today without passports, without having to worry about anything, without quarantine, nothing to it today. Because this international peace park, it's a symbol of goodwill and friendship between Canada and the USA. It's something for all of us to be very proud of, that this peace park exists. Good relationship between the two countries makes this a very large protected area. Good for preservation, good for conservation, good for people's enjoyment. One more good photo op. Keep the cameras out. Off the right hand side here, it's one of my favorite photo opportunities because in the foreground you've got Boundary Creek flowing into the lake, and up above it in the background, the jagged mountain there, the Citadel Peaks. Citadel Peaks.
Very good wallpaper.
The local kids didn't live in town, they call that T-Rex Peak because it looks like a T-Rex bit the top of the mountain off. Good question. Where are the grizzlies? Sometimes right now, looking off to the right-hand side and in the back behind us, you see some of those open meadows on the mountain slope. That's a good place to look for grizzly bears if you've got keen eyes. That's where they like to hang out, in those open meadows, starting to dig up some of the rocks.
Look, Grizzly Bear Mountain. I can't believe we just went to the USA. Hi,
So Glacier National Park, Montana. What do you think? Is it any different than Waterton? Looks the same right now, doesn't it?
I'm holding it.
No, maybe stop the water.
So the world's first international peace park, and it was created thanks to the Rotarians, members of Rotary International. They got together and they were lobbying both Canadian and US federal governments back in the 1920s and early 1930s, saying that this should be treated like one large park, one large area, not two different parks with two different sets of rules, one. Because again, the wildlife, they don't know there's a border there. The bears walk back and forth across the border. It's not like a bear stops and says, oops, I'm a Canadian bear, I have to turn around. No, nothing like that. And so thanks to the efforts of Rotary International, 1932, this became the world's first international peace park. The parks work very closely on all sorts of issues. In this day and age, we are a very good role model for the rest of the world. On most years, when we've got international travelers coming to visit here, we have people visiting both national parks, Waterton and Glacier, talking to both park administrations, learning about best practices, the conservation that goes on between the two, the strong political relationships that exist here. They take that knowledge, that information back home with them,